Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. I wanted to have a talk to you today about some things I've been doing differently outside normal trading hours. So first of all, I've just had a payment of $5,000 confirmed. There's my email, which I got, a couple of hours ago. Let me just make it a bit wider. So 1100, 1250, 900 and 1750. So that's $5,000. I've also got another $1,150 which I put in last night. Thanks, mate, which I'm waiting to hear about. So I've been trading out of normal hours some penguin style stuff. So I'm going to show you a couple of charts and a couple of trades I've taken. So I took a trade last night. Let me just find out which one it is. I think it's that one. That one. Okay. So I took that trade last night. Sort of penguin style. I've been watching what he's doing lately. So we had that leg down like that. We had two clear attempts to push higher. Now, what he's doing is he's putting his order in here when it starts to go sideways or starts to struggle. He's putting his stop up here, maybe above a swing high, and he's putting profit down here. Now, I took that on 2 accounts, and that made me a total of $487 times 2. Now, originally, I had my stop up here. And when we had that push down, we had that pullback and that second leg down, the start of the second leg down, I brought it to 1 tick above that signal bar. So I'm basically protecting myself. So as you can see on, let me just get rid of that now. As you can see on the chart, that was basically, I marked it up. That was the trade I took. Now, that's where I put my stop, up there above this swing high. I put my profit. I decided to put it there because I thought there's a second entry long. It's going to trigger that. Now, it came down beautifully and hit my profit. Now, under some circumstances, he puts his profit, or he puts his take profit at the low, depending. Now, if that was the case, it did pull back, but it still never broke above that stop, and then it did work. So I'm seeing this all the time. And it's working a lot. So let me just show you a photo of a trade I took about 2 or 3 days ago. That was it there. Same sort of scenario. We had that leg down. We had 2 attempts to push up. And I got into a shorty. It ticked me out. It went up for maybe a couple of points and then pushed down. So if I'd have been trading penguin style then, that would have worked. So let me just quickly show you. That was it there. So we had that leg down. We had 2 attempts to push higher. Let me just get the other photo as well, so you can see it side by side there. So that was basic. We had the move down. We had 2 legs up there and there. As soon as it started to go sideways, what he does is he just puts his order in here, puts his stop up. So that's where I would have dropped that order. We had 2 legs up, clearly struggling. The stop goes, I don't exactly know how he does his stop, but I put the stop went above that swing high there. That's where the profit would be. It went sideways. In my trade, it stopped me out. In this trade, it pushed down. So that trade will have worked. So I'm just seeing this moving more accurate now. I'm not stopping Pats at all. What was this? There's another one I took. That was a picture of just on a sim that I was kind of marking, so that doesn't really matter. But I'm just seeing this work. So there was one there. We had this move down and a break. We had 2 attempts to push high and a clean leg like this. If you'd have put your order in here, stop up here, clearly worked beautifully. So I'm just seeing, I've been, looking at him on and off for a couple of years, and he's changing things. A lot of the time he'd wait for the move down, he'd put his order in there, and he'd put his stop above there, but he's changing things up a little bit. So the trade I took last night clearly worked. Now, another benefit of trading this style is I had about 5 or 6 minutes while it was going sideways to decide what I wanted to do there. Now, the trade was, it made me about $475 profit. Now, the difficult thing with trading Pats is it's very hard to manage. It's very hard to manage your risk, because you never know what the signals bar's going to be sized till the last couple of seconds. Whereas this, once it's going sideways, I could bring this down, mark out where I want to be, work out what the risk is, and I can trade it in micros, anywhere from 1 to 5 micros, so I can set my own risk. So it just gives you a little bit more breathing space. The trouble is with Pats lately, because it's so choppy, you've got no room for error. You put an order in, your tick goes above the signal bar, stop goes below, the slightest bit of noise, and it can take you out. So I'm just finding I'm getting much more success with this. Now, if I see a Pats order, don't get me wrong, a setup, I'll certainly be taking it. But I don't see a massive amount of clear ones. So this is just something I've been looking at on and off for a couple of years. But the last couple of weeks, I've been trading these later in the day, and I've had some good success with them, obviously, as you can see with the photos. So it's just something I'm looking at. Low volume today. Yeah, there isn't much, is there? So it's just, I've been having some good success with it. As you can see, that one worked beautifully. 487 profit, clear 2 legs up. We had a channel break, new high. We had a pullback. We had a second attempt. Same again, channel break, new high. And I jumped in there. But I can decide while it's doing that what I want to do and how much I want to risk, because I just put this little thing here, 39 ticks, which is about 18, what is it, about 236. It's about 9.5 points. Now, you wouldn't want to trade that on a contract, but I could trade that on two micros. So it's very easy to plan your risk, and you get a little bit more time to think about it. And with your stop up here, if you've judged it wrong and it does start to go against you, you can get out a little bit earlier and minimize your loss. So it's just something I'm paying more attention to. So we'll see how that goes anyway. But yeah, very little volume, but you can see how clear that is, too clear. It's very similar to Pats. It's just on a slightly bigger scale. I mean, on a bigger chart, that would just be a second entry. You know, and it worked. And even if you decided to get out the lows, yes, it came back, but it still never hit your stop. And if you do happen to get in, you know, if you get out like I did there and you see a second leg or a wider leg, you could get back in. And obviously with that being a little bit higher, you could potentially make, you know, 1 to 2 profit there. That worked as well. So it's just something I'm looking at. I think really with this business, the more strings to your bow you have, the more chance you've got of getting a setup. So we'll see how things go anyway. It's just something I'm paying attention to. But I have got a second chart up here, which is the MES chart, which I can decide, you know, to move on to if I need to. So we got 1, 2, 3 triple tests there, made 3 attempts to go higher. Trouble is, price is above that EMA at the moment. It is a second entry short as well, so probably worth that. But I'm more interested in triple tests when we kind of more range, but we'll see what happens. So that actually worked really well, didn't it, that triple test? Absolutely. Yeah, to be fair, I was looking at. I wasn't looking at it. To be fair, I think I was looking at I was looking at this, reading some of these as well. So I'm guessing with that triple test, there's a chance we come lower. So if we can get a lower high, so maybe there's a channel there with a break and attempted a new high. Actually, lower high on my second chart. I think there's a good chance we get a second leg down here. So kind of had a leg with 2 attempts to push up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get something like this, a leg with a correction. A couple of tests, couldn't get above it, and then down again. So there is some support there, whether you consider that overnight highs. So if we can get a bounce, a drop and a bounce, it is frustrating. It happened that quick, and then it started coming down before I realised what was going on. I was just reading some of the on the Discord. So see what happens here. See if we can get a couple of legs up. If we can get a couple of legs up, we may end up getting something like that. Leg down, correction, couple of retest, and then a relatively strong move down. Can't take that because if this does come down, I don't think it'll come down in that short channel there. I dare say it'll branch off a little bit and then come down. So I want a couple of clear attempts, really. My only slight concern is it depends where you consider the overnight highs. We've had two clear attempts to push up there. So if this is a channel, we got a break. Two pushes high. Couldn't. I think there's a good chance this comes clear down. Pretty clear range today. Looks like it. Yeah, I'm hoping we get something like this. Somewhere along those lines. I don't think I've reloaded. Let me just reload. Another stressful down the market. How you doing, Karina? You all right? Let's remove that. So I really want a second attempt, really. Channel down, 2 attempts. Be nice to trigger that and give us a long failure. Nothing yet. Slow. Yeah, it is slow. There's very little volume, isn't there? Okay, see if we get something here. We want to break above that, really, don't we? Had a fair idea where it was going. Just no entry, unfortunately. That's frustrating. Okay, so I'm just going to bring a chart in now. I'm in another trade actually on an evaluation, and I just want to explain this one. So same again, penguin style trade. We had this channel down. We had 2 attempts to push higher. Now I got into the trade there. Now a lot of the times penguin will get in here and put his stop up here. So as it was an evaluation, I put my order in there and put my stop at that previous swing high. Profit would have been down here. Now, it did push up a bit higher, which it does sometimes. It went a bit sideways, and now it looks like it's coming down. So this trade is probably still going to work. Now, I'm going to come out of this a little bit earlier because it's $2,000 down there. If it comes down $1,500 as I pull back $1,000, it'll stop me out. So what I'm going to do is just put that maybe there. If we get a push down, I may add to this another contract just to up that profit a bit. But same scenario, channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. What he does a lot of the time is he gets in here, puts his stop up here. As it's an evaluation, I just give it that little bit of space. We'll see what happens anyway. So I've got that running on the chart up there. It's only an evaluation anyway, so I'm just testing more of these on evaluations, with the exception of last night. It was such a clear move, and it just worked beautifully, 2 legs down. Risky that first one, could be 1 leg. Yeah, that's why that's why it's just on an evaluation. Yeah, it's hard to know what the thing's doing. I think it's more likely it's ranging, isn't it? Might put that down there, something like that. Yeah, it's kind of just ranging at the moment. Whether that'll continue or not, who knows? So channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. See what happens. My guess is if we've had a triple test off here, I think there's probably more of a chance we test these lows. Whether it does or not is a different matter. That would be my guess. Trump say something, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. Mind you, we have got a trade deal, so that's probably good. I picked up one evaluation earlier. It was a little bit cheaper than it was yesterday. So whether that means the value of the dollar is rose a fraction. Maybe. That's the dollar at the moment. So where are we now? That would be the end of April. So pushed up a little bit, pulled back. I think the last day or so, 5th of April, we've had a slight move up, only a fraction. Just there over that last day. So I'm hoping we've had a little double bounce here. So I'm hoping it does rise a little bit, because the more this goes up, the more I get paid when I withdraw. So we shall see. At the moment, I think it's 133. So $1.33 is a pound. It wasn't long ago. It was about 125. So it's much better value from me because I get paid in dollars. I mean, it wasn't long ago I was getting £1,600 to $2,000. I don't know what it is now. So $2,000 USD to the pound. So I was getting 1,600 maybe 6 months ago. I'm getting just over 1,500, so it's quite a bit less actually. I mean, if we're looking at February, you can see obviously as it's the value of the dollar's dropped, so I want it back up here really. So yeah, but I'm you know, for every $2,000 I get paid, I'm down £95. So obviously all this, you know, all this trade stuff, these trade deals, these, you know, say deals, these tariffs have obviously affected the price of the dollar. You're looking for a fail second entry short, are you? There's one there. Trouble is, with us having a triple test, I'm not sure whether this is going to make an attempt and fail. I don't know. Trouble is with that one, it may work, but that one's a little bit too far off that EMA, so you never know. It could trigger above and come down as a lower high. Who knows? It's hard to know what's going on at the moment. It's obviously basically going sideways, but we shall see. Yeah, I remember when there was $2 to the pound. But yeah, I mean, when I was kind of younger, I think it was usually around about 16 dollars got you £10. But yeah, at one point it was $2 to the pound. Now it makes it cheaper when I'm buying evaluations, but the plan is to earn more than I spend. So ideally, if the value of the dollar increases, which I'm pretty sure it will. There's negotiations with China. There's negotiations with Canada. We've got a trade deal. So obviously, you know, with sort of Trump and the tariffs sent the value of the dollar down. You know, some people say he was trying to crush the economy to lower the interest rate. I mean, I'm not a politician or an economist, but you know, things are sounding much better anyway, aren't they? Much more positive. I know cryptocurrency is certainly making a push at the moment. I ended up selling all mine a while ago when things started dropping. I think I've got hardly anything left at the moment, but I think Bitcoin 103,500. So it's had quite a bit of a push. Ethereum's come up. Ethereum's gone up 20% the last 24 hours. So all the currencies are up. Avalanche is up 13%. Link's up 10%. ADA's up 10%. Doge's up 30%. Solana's up 11%. So everything's nice and positive at the moment. So we know there's a trade deal with the UK now. Hopefully it won't be long before there is something with China. Not sure what's going on with Canada at the moment. I know, I think wasn't Mark Carney having meetings with him over the last couple of days. I'm not sure, but hopefully that should, you know, give a bit of a positive spin on the economy and hopefully send the dollar back up in value a little bit. 15, 20 years ago, everything was better. Yeah. Same for everything. Same for everything. So that was the concern about that failure there. See, I go for 3 points. You wouldn't have got, if you got a tick above it, you wouldn't have got 2 points before it stopped you out. Trouble is, I'm not saying it's not going up, but that to me, really, for a failure is just too far off that EMA. There is some support there, so I'd at least expect a bit of a dive. But I mean, if you got right in on the nail, when it broke above it, it still only went up 2.5 points, so 2.25 to push. So it's just a bit unclear at the moment because it is going sideways, so you don't know whether it's going to get above all this. You know, we've got a channel up possibly with a couple of legs and maybe a retest, so it may go up. But obviously we've been up here 3 times and it's rejected all 3 times, so it's hard to know whether this thing's going to go up. I watched Famous American Economist the other day. He was saying the dollar will continue to lose value over the... Don't tell me that, mate. I don't need bad news on a Friday. I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. You never know. It's hard to know, isn't it, really? It's hard to know. I mean... I don't know. I'd say one thing that boggles my brain is you've got people now. If you look at politicians in the UK, most of them went to Eton, most of them went to Oxford or Cambridge. They're very, very educated people. They've spent years and years. They're at the top of their game educationally. They're very smart people. But on one hand, you've got the experts, half of them saying things should be this way, things should be that way. And we've got the other bunch of experts saying the complete opposite. Now, if the educated experts can't agree and can't make a decision, what have the likes of me and you got? We haven't got an open hell, have we? So I don't get it. I don't get it. I went to, well, I finished yesterday. I filled my hip flask up and I went round to the cemetery. My mum and dad are both buried there and they've got the war graves as well. And with it being VE Day celebrations, I like to have a walk around once in a while around the war graves and just look at some of the names, read some of the names. And it's really sad to know so many of them were in their early 20s. You know, there was a 17-year-old, loads in their 20s and 21s, such a young age. And during the Second World War, approximately between 70 and 85 million people were killed. And it just boggles my brain how little value life holds. You know, I know it was 80 plus years ago and things have changed, but have they? You know, you've only got to look at the Middle East. You've only got to look at Ukraine and Russia, and you know, men really have got a lot to answer for, haven't they? It's, yeah, I was walking around there reading some of those young names, and I was having a little swig of me. What's it? Just, you know, just trying to keep it in mind. But it's, you know, men really should be so ashamed of themselves, really, that, you know, the things they do. I remember a friend of mine, this was, I think, during the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, when Iraq invaded Kuwait and the Allied forces went in there. I remember a friend of mine saying, there's a video here, watch this. And I started watching it for 2 minutes and I had to switch it off. And it was the Iraqis executing people, young children. I won't go into details, but some of the things they were doing were absolutely appalling. You know, there was limbs being it's shocking, really. And it just boggles my brain how men, you know, that think they rule the world. You know, in most cases, men are in power. Really, they've got a lot to answer for some of the things they do. They really have. Countries rely on us, mind you. Is America? Do they get up to things that we'll never know about? Do the UK do things that we'll never know about? I don't doubt it for a second. You know, we're all guilty in one way, aren't we? We're all guilty of shocking things, really. It's terrible, really. I don't want to talk too much, but shocking, really. Right, let's see what's going on here. So if this goes up any further, my evaluation is going to get stopped out. We got a channel with a break and a new high. So let's see if this reacts from here. Yeah, I've looked at your website, actually. I've had a look at it. So you got some really talented people working for him, yeah, from different parts of the world as well. I think you got some Europeans up here as well. Yeah, it's impressive. In fact, even the room looks cool that you do it in. Do you want me to get the website up? I have looked at it before. Do you want me to bring it in, dear bud? You won't mind, will you? You won't mind. That's it there. There you go. Fantastic. Now, I'm guessing. Let's have a look. Wow. That's my favourite. That's so fun. They are cool. I mean, that's your room, isn't it? Artist. Let's have a look. Artist portfolio. Let's have a quick look at some of these. Wow. I mean, that's incredible. Look at that. Is that Snoop or is it Coolio? That looks like Coolio, doesn't it? I actually have a friend who's a tattoo artist. Well, he's gone more into removing them now, actually. That's fantastic. That's brilliant, that is. Unbelievable. Where's your main room? I suppose there it is, isn't it? How cool is that? Is that a that's a what's it, isn't it? Hey Speedy, how you doing? That's it's a Cobra, isn't it? Is it a real one or not? That is so cool. That is. I mean, how amazing is that? And that's you're in London, aren't you, bud? It's a replica, yeah. I'm guessing it would have been. I'm guessing what would that be? 80,000 plus if it was a. Mind you, can pay a lot for replicas. Oh, you sold it. In fact, there was a program on TV about 10, 12 years ago. I forget the guy who was a presenter. I think he was originally a vet, and he built one, actually. Now, they are cool, aren't they? They are cool. Yeah, that is brilliant. That is really impressive. That's really impressive. Yeah, there's the actual... Oh, I want that move. Can't move it. Original 500 grand. Bloody hell. Replica 40 to 60. Wow. I mean, that's serious money for a replica, isn't it? Oh, some of them tattoos are amazing. I mean, that's real art, isn't it? So I bet you've had some famous faces through your door. Go on, then name drop. Are you allowed to? Who have you had through your doors? Famous. I mean, if it's in North London, you're bound to have some famous people. You're bound to them. 4 to 6. Yeah, there was a guy. I can't remember. I think it was 12 or 15 years ago now. It was called A Car Is Born. Let me have a look. He did A Plane Is Born and A Helicopter Is Born as well. Yeah, that was the guy there. It's called A Car Is Born, and he built that. I think it cost him, I think he got was it a 3.2 litre? He initially got a donor car, and he decided to scrap the donor car, and I think he bought a that was another one. I think he put a Chevy I don't know, V8 or whatever it is, I can't remember, but Mark Evans, his name was actually a vet. But yeah, that's the one he built. Really enjoyed watching that. I think he paid, I mean, this was probably 15 years ago. I think he paid about 22,000 for it all, including the paint job. But I mean, that's stunning, isn't it? I like the ones with a thick stripe, blue with a kind of a cream stripe. I mean, there's nothing like a Chevy sound of a Chevy engine. I mean, you US guys will know better than me, but yeah, I believe you can. I think it was I can't remember the company. What's the name of the company that he bought it from? I'll notify it. Amazing. I'd love to do that. I'm a builder, I am. In fact, I've actually got some boat plans, a set of boat plans that I bought about 5 years ago. I had for a birthday. So I love making stuff, and I got these boat plans of it was a something zip. Something I really wanted to do. Look. Yeah, it was called a something zip, a Glen L zip. It was like, it kind of looks like, I'm trying to find one now. It kind of looks like a 1950s Italian kind of boat type thing. That type of thing. There, I think it's about 14 foot long. Not that one. That's a big one. That was it there. It's called the Glenelg Zip. I bought some plans from the US. So it's something I always wanted to do. We used to have a little boat, only a little one. It was like a 4 meter sort of inflatable with an engine on it. It was a 4 meter, you know, one of the really tough ones. And I bought the kit. There was a couple of YouTube videos on how to build it, and it's just something I always fancied doing. So I've got the kit. I'll have a go of it one day. We got kind of a massive shed down the bottom of the garden, sort of 16.5 foot long by 10 foot wide. So it's just something I fancied doing. Yes, I am, bud. This is the most recent one I've done. That one there, can you see it? It's kind of got some on the back. But yeah, oh, it's lovely. Oh, it smells absolutely stunning. Really good. Just got that lovely kind of beautiful sound to it. But yeah, I watched the guy. I used to watch a little Chinese guy on YouTube building Oxford brogues, and I just started watching it, and it kind of led from there. But yeah, great fun, super relaxing, gotta say. So we got a leg up. This looks like 2 legs down. So I've got a feeling I'm tempted. I'm going to get out of this order, I think, here. It's going nowhere, this, to be fair. So we've got a push up, 2 attempts to go lower. So I'm going to get out of this. Just this evaluation. In fact, let's get out now just in case. But 2 legs down. So I'm going to have a go. In fact, let's just have a go at this now. Aim up for the highs. Put that down here out the way. It's just an evaluation. This is sort of kind of penguin style. It may come below there. So what I'm going to do is put that there. Put me stop there and put me take profit about there. Just see if it works. So we got 2 legs up. We got 2 attempts to go lower. Leg and a leg. The wallet's available UK trade them. Sure, I haven't got one of them, bud. Got to say though, I'll tell you what, you can make some money out of it. Not that it really interests me, but there is a guy I know, a Scottish guy that I've chatted to that sells them, and I'll tell you what, I sell them for a lot of money. Sells them for a hell of a lot of money. I mean, look at that. £200. I could make that for about £8.50. All it is a little bit of you can see that thing in the middle there. It's like 2 bits of leather, which is the back of that main bit, the bit on the left and the 2 bits on the side. I can make that for about, say, £10 maximum. Unbelievable. But he sells that for £200. That is unbelievable. I use exactly the same leather. I order mine from Italy. And all that is a little bit of tartan. I've made a couple of them with tartan. Cost about £3 for a piece of tartan, and that's yeah, it's an eval, that is. In fact, it's doing the complete opposite. It's doing, if I'd have just left it, it's going down, but I don't know. Unbelievable. Snapdragon coming up, you reckon? Yeah, it's kind of initially 2 pushes up where I got in here. It's working now, but there we go. Oh, well, it's an evaluation. And maybe a small overshoot there and a break out of here. So, in fact, you know what? I'm actually going to take that up to there. Two attempts to go lower. We'll see. That looks like a breakout, which may fail. We'll see. So just looking on the 10,000 tick chart here, we've had 2 attempts to push higher and 2 attempts to push lower. So it'd be interesting to see where this thing goes. If I just left that short trade where it was, it would have not been far off now. Face of not every bar is a signal bar, yeah. The thing is with Pats is so much reading I've done about trading, and people say always keep your risks the same. It's almost it's impossible to do with Pats, because the trouble is we're dictated by that signal bar, and that signal bar can be 8 ticks or it can be 18 ticks or even 20 ticks in some cases. And when you're holding your order there, you never know what it's going to be size-wise until it finishes. So all of a sudden, if it's a great setup and the last minute decides to launch down, you can get into it for such a big risk, a lot bigger than you kind of initially intend to. So it's very hard to manage risk, whereas the penguin trades, because it takes you, you know, you could sit and wait for a few minutes to enter. You can work out your risk, you know, just by doing this, and then you can, if you wanted to sort of get in there and put your stop there and your profit, obviously 34 ticks, you can work that out point wise, and then adjust it accordingly on the MES and actually trigger the trade on the MES. So you can actually, you know, work out how many micros you want to do based on how much risk and how much profit you want. So, I mean, if that's 40 ticks, it's 10 points. So one contract, you'd be risking $500. So 5 contracts on the mini, you'd be risking $250. So you could risk 3 or 4 contracts on a mini if you wanted to sort of keep your risk where you wanted it. So it's got that benefit to it. Considered making an adoption on EK orders to place stop loss automatically in target, automatic pace on ATR. Oh, you've considered, sorry, I was going to say, yeah, making an option. Yeah, that would be a good idea, because you could, I mean, the only way to manage it properly really is to do it on micros. You know, 1 contract on the mini, 2 contracts on the mini, you're doubling up, aren't you? But whereas the micros are in increments, individual increments of 10 compared to the what's it, so you could get it to set, you know, if you wanted to say, I want to risk $100 on here, you could get it to say, you know, depending on the signal bar, you know, automatically trade 2 micros, 4 micros, 3, 1 or 8 or whatever. Something like that would be really useful, because that's the trouble is sometimes if I want to keep my risk low, you know, the ATR is a guideline, but you know, I mean, for instance, this bar there, we got a channel down with a break and a new low. So 2 legs up, you'd expect that to work. The trouble is, you know, you put your order down here, it's 11.5 ticks points. It's just too much. Trouble is, if it's around about here, 8 points, it may have a push the last minute. And the trouble is with Pats, you've got to make it a split decision within sometimes the last second. And you know, with emotions and money on the line, oh, this is so frustrating. With emotions and money on the line, it's very easy doing impulsive things. So this trade I took earlier, we had 2 legs up, and I took a short there, put me stop up here. I'd have been nearly out now. But because I thought 2 legs down, we're going to bounce and push up, I actually reversed the trade. Now look at that. Would have worked. 2 legs up, put me order there. Stop up here, profit down here. That would have worked. So I should have just trusted it, but it's an evaluation anyway, so Cost me £25, so I'm all right with it. So let's bring this down here a little bit, maybe put it there. In fact, let's put it down here at the lows.
Order filled.
Yeah, it's killed that one. I thought it might do. So if I'd have just left it where it is, it would have worked that. I actually started taking entries based on 14-period linear. Russian ATR, going from 1R, take it on the ME, you can always size accordingly. Yeah, you've got much more flexible. I mean, you know, some people say, well, yeah, but it costs a little bit more on the commissions, but it's negligible, really. It's negligible. You can offset it with an extra tick anyway. So the trouble is, you know, there's so much material out there and they say risk X amount of points or risk X amount of what's the word I'm looking for? A certain percentage, so risk 2% or 3%. But with PATs, it's almost impossible because you never know what the signal bar is going to be like. So it's very, very hard. Yeah, someone mentioned Trade Saber. I had a little play around with it. But I couldn't get my head around it initially. But what I like about this style of trading, it went sideways for a period of it's about 14 minutes before it came down. So all you've got to do is put this tool here and work out where you want to get out profit and where you what is. So that's 30. So that's about what? It's about 9 points, isn't it? Fraction over 9 points. So one contract you're risking $450. So 1 mini you're risking $45. So you could say 4 minis, $180 risk. So sorry, 4 micros. So it's very easy to chart it here, but take it on the micros. So if you've got another chart up there with the micros, all I can do is go, that's extra amount of points. I need 3 micros or 4 micros to give me the risk that I want. And that's the beauty about the penguin style of trading. You have more time to think. The trouble is, whatever we do in life, the quicker you've got to do it, the less time you have to think, the more errors you can make. I'll look at this now. Where do you think this is going? Probably down here. So that's kind of why I like the penguin style. You guys know I've talked about him on and off for a couple of years. I've even taken a few trades here or there in the past. But, you know, whatever extra setups you've got in your bag of tools is only going to help you. And the good thing about the penguin style trading, it's almost identical to Max. 2 attempts to push up, exactly the same as a second entry. That's a second entry there. So is kind of that, really, just on a bigger time frame. But because he gets in and uses a bigger stop now, he gives it a chance to clear out any liquidity. Because so many times, I don't know how many trades I've been triggered out for a point, 2 points, 2 or 3 ticks before it goes. You know, I don't know how many times I've said my read was right, my entry wasn't. And with that style of trading, it just, you know, it's very easy to manage your risk. You can get exactly 1-to-1. And not only that, if the trade comes down like that one, you can bring your stop to break even. That way, if you've read it wrong, chances are it'll come above that. And if it starts to go against you, you can get out early. So you've got more room to maneuver. And that's kind of what I like. But I haven't had much success the last 3 or 4 weeks, probably even a month on Pats. But I've been taking bits of these trades and I've done much better. So the trouble is with Pats, it's not a lot of really obvious entries. I was talking to Dan about it a while ago and he was saying a lot more advanced setups you've got to keep an eye out for now. Trouble is, if you get it wrong, it's very easy to get stopped out just for it to go in the same blooming direction. That's the problem. So, you know, sometimes when you're sat here for a couple of 3 days and you don't really see anything obvious, it's very easy to get into a trade in a little bit of congestion. You know, just trying to make something. Whereas if you've got this as a backup or an extra string to your bow, you've got a possibility of still making some money. So that setup, that initial setup I took, 2 attempts to push higher. Granted, I think these attempts needed to be a little bit more sideways, but look, you enter here, stop goes up here, then the previous swing went up a little bit, went sideways, and eventually went down. So that would have worked. So it's another trade that would have worked. And I decided 2 pushes down to go long here and ended up doing the complete opposite. But that's the beauty of an evaluation. At least it doesn't cost you much. I've been struggling the past 3 weeks, starting to think about learning other strategies. Yeah, I wouldn't give Pats up. I mean, I've been trading Pats now for 4 years, but, and I've spoken to a lot of people that trade Pats, and they've said it's very hard going because it's doing so much of this. So having an extra setup, and we're not talking about changing complete strategies, you know, but sometimes some strategies may be more effective than others in certain times. And when price is very choppy and our order goes above the signal bar, stop goes below, you've got no room for error. And sometimes when you get a little bit of lashing around, it'll stop you out before it goes where you think it's going to go. Why do I have MES tickets set? I've just got MES on another chart above my head, that's all. Because if I'm going to take some Penguin setups, usually you have a wider stop. That trade I took yesterday, there was a 6-point stop. So I don't want to trade one contract because with a 6-point stop, I'm risking $300. In some cases, you may have more than a 6-point stop. So it just gives me the option to you know, reduce my risk by taking some micros instead. Because if you're taking a trade here with a big stop, it's irrelevant really whether you trade it on micros or minis. When I say irrelevant, I mean relevant. Yeah, the bars can be ever so slightly different, but the move is the same. So that's the only reason why I have the MES up there, just in case. So I can do my plotting here, but execute on the MES. Looking venture strategy. Yeah, I mean, he's a very, very clever guy, that Penguin guy. He's a very, very savvy trader. He reads these markets like the palm reader reads a hand. So look at that. So if I'd have just left that trade where it was with the bigger stop at the swing, worked like a treat. Now, bearing in mind, I think that was about 20 points. Let's have a look. Yeah, 20 points. So you'd be risking $1,000 on one contract. You wouldn't want to do that, but you can risk $200 on 2 micros and have the same move. Or $100 on 1 micro, or $300 on 3 micros. But I mean, I entered there after that bar, but when it started going sideways, you could have entered anywhere there if you'd have liked the move and put your stop there. So if I'd have just left that instead of monkeying around with it, it would have worked. But that's okay. So, you know, these other strategies, you know, have their challenges as well. You're not going to learn them overnight, but because they're so close to max system, it's not that much difficult to pick up on what's going on. But for instance, we had that channel down, breaking a new low. We had a perfect measured leg up. If you'd have took an order here, put your stop up here, profit down here, within 2 bars, you're out. Because after most measured moves, a lot of the time, market will reverse. We had a measured move, market reversed. We had a measured move, market reversed. Measured move, market reversed. We had a measured move, market reversed eventually. So, you know, there's options with it. I learned to read better the market with other systems. Yeah, it's surprising when you learn price action how you can adapt that to other ways of entering the market. But it's just making kind of judgments, isn't it? But we got this leg down. We had a correction, and now we got what looks like another leg down, which looks like it's going to test this area, which kind of makes sense. So, I think the more experience you get, the more you learn how these systems work, the better off you're going to be in the long time. It does, as I say, it doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to make it work overnight. But if you can just get 1 or 2 extra setups over a week like this, that will add to your tally. And just, making sure you're earning something. That worked. 2 legs up there. Same again. You could have entered there, put your stop up here. That worked as well. So you could have had 2 trades in one there. That one worked. 2 legs up, stop up here. Eventually that worked as well. And the thing is with Pats, really, it's hard to get out of a trade if you think it's going to go against you, because your stop and your order is so tight between one bar. It can come back almost. I mean, for instance, that bearish bar, if you got in there, I mean, there was no entry, but if you did get in there, it almost came back and stopped you out and didn't. So, if you were getting short here and the market started pushing up, you got your stop up here, you can always decide to get out for a smaller loss. But with Pats, there's no really getting out of a trade. It's a very small scalp. And when the market is very choppy like that, unless you're incredibly good at reading price, and in most cases, I can't tell you how many trades lately I've got into which would have made a point or 6 ticks but didn't make my 3 points. But the trouble is, when price is, when the economy is up in the air, price is chopping around so much, it's very easy to make a quick decision that's wrong. There was a count reset and it fell second entry long right after the news. Yeah, I wasn't trading very well yesterday, to be fair. But it did work out well in the end. I think I ended up being $300 up and then ended up losing it and being $25 down. But the trade I took yesterday, the Penguin one, that was it. I actually posted it on one of the Facebook groups when I was actually in it. It was textbook. I ended up making 4, so I ended up being up in the end. So we had those channel down, a little bit of an overshoot. In a lot of cases, we'll make a correction, but that was a really nice looking correction. I got in there, stop went up here. Textbook, we had the leg down, people taking profits down here. We had that pullback, and then once that closed below that EMA for me, it just worked beautifully. And then after we had that bar initially started to push down, I brought my stop 1 tick above there. So that way I'm risking $25 now. If it does decide to come back up, I've obviously read it wrong. So, you've got options. So there is a second entry short there, which is testing this underside. Trouble is, if we're ranging here, there's also a higher low, so it could come back into the range. So I'm staying out of anything here at the moment. I do think there's a good chance we get this second leg down. And Penguin as well, he does trade over, he does mark a lot of these over days, and they do work. Mac doesn't mention sort of these, and he doesn't need to really, to be honest with you. He's only going for a point, so it's kind of irrelevant really. But if you are going for slightly bigger moves, then obviously this comes more into play. You wouldn't trade the 15-minute or a 30-minute chart just using a day. I mean, an hour chart, you may only get 6 or 7 bars before, you can't do nothing with them. So we'll see. So that higher low has triggered, and it is starting to come down. So, Is it going to push up or is it going to fail and come down? What I will say is we pushed down and we bounced a couple of times off the underside of this. So be interesting to see. I think there's a good chance if it tests it again and fails, it may come down. But it does look like a range, so it could push up. My gut feeling, though, it's probably going to come lower. So, but we have had a channel down with a break, 2 pushes to a new low, so it has made a new low. So the higher low did work. I wouldn't have taken it because we've kind of previously attempted to push, so it's just a bit uncertain. 2 legs up, see what happens here. Now that did close in the bottom third. It doesn't look too bad on the MES, but I'd rather wait for a lower high if this thing's going to come down. So the MES actually looked pretty good. Kind of got a little micro with a break and a new high. But the trouble is, as we've just broken out, I would prefer to wait on a lower high just in case. But you can see there on the MES, we got kind of a little micro there with a break and a new high. Bearish bars pushed down nice and strong. So ordinarily, the setup doesn't look too bad, but the context is telling me we're ranging at the moment. So as Mac will say, most breakouts fail. So if it doesn't fail and we get a lower high, then I'll have a go at that. Just check. Orders open on my other chart.
Order submitted.
Yeah, they are.
Order cancelled.
How many orders are opening?
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why just 5? I'm still waiting for a couple of payments. Okay.
Order cancelled.
Ah, 81 I can trade as well.
Order submitted.
That's better.
Order cancelled.
So, what's going on here? So yesterday's lows are down here. There was a bounce there, so I'm hoping this continues to go down. Trouble is, it's quite tight. Try my new old 50-50 system. Yeah. Trading's a lot harder than you think, isn't it? I mean, we all know what a really good patch setup looks like, but we don't see many really clear, obvious ones. And there lies the problem. If you're getting less, it's very easy for your patients to get the better. You know, we've got to kind of look for more advanced setups. So if you look at this, the channel down with a break and a new low, we got a push up, little bit of sideways, we drop out, we push up strong. That to me is not a bad setup. It's actually a second entry long. So that type of trade, you can see there's going to be shorts there. I would take, I don't think it's a bad setup, that. But we don't see a lot of really great setups. And that's the problem, really. We kind of had two legs down there, but it's very tight, so it's very hard to go. ILO, we didn't really get. It was a tick above. So we don't get many really good setups. We had a break, channel, new low. No real entry there. You may have taken the failure, but it's still congested. So I'm just seeing a lot less really quality patch setups than I used to, and that it just concerns me. Which is why I've been looking a little bit more at the penguin style setup. I mean, I have said once or twice in the past I'm going to move on and trade his, but the trouble is when I did that, I started seeing patch setups more and more. But I think it'd be nice to just have the option to do both. Two momentums up and down. Yeah, it sounds simple, really, doesn't it? You either go long or short. 50% of the time you've got to be right, but it does not work that way. So channel with a break. So let's see what happens here. Second entry long off support. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Trouble is, until we get above there, you never quite know whether this thing's going to take another drop. I don't trace change. Well, I do sometimes. So channel break, new high. Let's see how far this thing goes. It's not going up very steep for me, so my gut feeling is it may still decide to come lower. I mean, when you look at a chart, you can kind of work out what's going on, but when you can't see what's happening next, it's a completely different ball game. Just waiting for one more approval. So I've had $5,000 approved this morning. Fortunately, all at the same time. And 4 of those trades were penguin style trades that got those accounts up, because I haven't had any luck with I haven't done very well at Pat's trades lately at all. I had a really good solid March. In April it just went tits up. Absolutely. Patience is key, isn't it? Are you from Canada, Kirk, are you? No, Ozark. Oh, okay, got you. It's all right. I had a feeling you were from Canada. Ozarks, like the series. I'm assuming that's the same place. What are they, like a series of islands or something? Just plain redneck and This to me looks like it's struggling to go anywhere. Channel break new high. Looks like two little legs as well, so I'd like to see. We've pushed up there. We've found support again there, I think, or resistance. So my gut feeling is it's kind of come down, leg down with a couple of pushes up, a few more tests followed by a big strong move down. I think there's a good chance we get down here, just with the way it looks, you know, leg up, leg up. Just sometimes these legs are really obvious, other times not so much. So we have got kind of two legs there, but they're too tight together. They're not set apart. The trouble is I prefer them something like that. That type of thing. And then catch it on the way down. But this is just going nowhere, so gut feeling is it's going to come down. You done, are you, Jan? Yeah, you have a good weekend, bud. So we've come into some support there, and it is dropping. Whether it'll push out or whether it'll make a second attempt or a third attempt. Sam, how you doing, buddy? So I'm a bit late to the party, but can you explain what is Penguin trading and how it is different to yours? I do trade my own system. Happily, mate. Okay, Penguin, really, his setups are almost identical to Max. So if I show you, there's a trade there, straight away you can see that it's very similar to a second entry, really. So he has a leg down here. Now, there is an overshoot. I don't think it matters too much. After an overshoot, a lot of the times we get a steeper correction. You can see the market makes two attempts to go higher and then starts to go sideways, which tells me it's struggling to go up. Now, a lot of cases, he used to put his order when it pushes through the EMA to catch it on the way down, but a lot of times now he puts it there. In fact, I got in sort of there. So you can see two attempts, and it almost looks like a second entry. But what he started doing is putting his order here in early rather than down here, putting his stop up here at a previous swing high and putting his order back there. Now, the beauty of that, you had about 25 minutes of it going sideways to decide what to do. You could put this little tool here, work out your order, work out how many micros to get your exact risk that you want and profit. And you can think about what's happening, double check, and it just gives you more time than Pat's to make a decision. So we had two legs down and it worked perfectly. Now, I took the trade last night or yesterday evening, and that was the trade. I took a photo when it was happening. If you look at the chart, you can clearly see it worked. We clearly had two legs up after a move down. I put my stop there above that swing high, giving it some space, and it worked perfectly. Now, I got out there because my one-to-one dictated that's where I got out. Now, in some cases, he'll put an order down there. Now, if you'd have your stop here and you put your order, your profit at the low of the day, it pulled back before it eventually came down. But where your stop was, it still didn't break that high. So when I took that trade last night and took my profit, I more or less finished trading. But what I didn't realise it did, it went up again. So technically you can say that's two legs up, and you can clearly see it's going sideways again. If you'd have got in there, put your order up the same place, that swing high, you could have got 1 to 2 there, Well, obviously it pushed down between those, and look at it go. So it's just extra strings to your bow. But if you watch some of his videos, he explains a lot of this. But as we can see, market moves in twos. You know, we had 2 legs up there, we had 2 legs up there, we had a break, 2 legs. And a lot of cases, after a measured move and a couple of legs, market reverses. So we had 2 legs up there and it pulled back. We had 2 legs up there and it pulled back. That one there, channel break, new low. We had 2 legs up and it pulled back. So it's just, I've been watching it on and off for a couple of years. And it's very similar to Mac's. In fact, some of his trades Mac takes. Now, that isn't a second entry by the count, but on a bigger time frame it would. But a trade I took 3 or 4 days ago, that one there, same scenario, leg down, 2 attempts to go higher. I got in there at that lower high. It went sideways and stopped me out. If I'd have got in there on an order and put my stop above that swing high, it went up a little bit further and it came down. That would have worked. So there's so many trades that I've got the read right, but I've got in either a little bit premature or when it's congested. And how many times have I said, the trade the other day, it went up a couple of points and ended up coming down. So I got the read right, but you know, obviously it wasn't congested when I got in. We just had that bar there and then a lower high and I got in. But obviously then it started going sideways, chopped me out and then ended up coming down. So I've just been doing a little bit of trade in this style just later in the day or in the early evenings. Sometimes on Sims, sometimes on an individual account. That you might consider is setting your chart to New York time for the viewers. I don't know how I do that, mate, to be fair. I mean, you guys know the time anyway, don't you? I'm 5 hours ahead of Eastern time. So you can work that out, can't you? Where are we now? 4 o'clock. So you're at 11 o'clock Eastern time at the moment. So you're a smart guy, mate. You can work that out. I wouldn't know how to do it, to be fair. Channel break, new high. Is this 2 attempts to push higher? And actually, is this going to be a triple test? We've had a break, 2 attempts to push higher. Is there a triple test there? 1, 2, 3. It's very tempting, isn't it? What do I do? Yeah, let's have a go.
Order submitted.
It's not a huge risk. 1, 2, 3. Not looking good, is it? 1, 2, 3. We've also had a break, 2 pushes to a new high. I'm going to get out of this. See if I can get out for break even. Got a break, 2 pushes to a new high, 1, 2, 3, triple test, bearish bar. I'm my other chart, I'm just going to try and get a tick out of this. On my other chart, it looks a bit better. There's a higher low there which is triggered, so I'm hoping it comes down and stops out that higher low. I'm guessing it probably won't now. This is probably going to go higher, isn't it? Come on, drop down. I just don't seem to have any luck on pats at all. 1, 2, 3. Channel, break, 2 pushes to a new high, big bearish bar. Looks like a triple test to me. This is where it'll stop me out for a couple of ticks and end up going in the same direction.
Order filled.
Oh, so I'm struggling with pats at the moment. I'm struggling with pats at the moment. It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it. Clearly come down. We bounced there, bounced a second time, broke above there, cleared out any liquidity, big bearish bar, channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. I liked it. But there we go. I think I'm done today, folks. I've lost them down about 280, well, 290 after what it's on my accounts, but I have just had a payout anyway, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to leave it there. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll catch up on Monday. Stay safe. Bye for now.